Sit. Okay. I'm not so sure whether all of you already gone through the practical session or not. Either with me, some group with me done already, but maybe not all. Maybe under Miss Mazlia, I'm not so sure when is your practical session. Okay, but I just want to actually explain to you on how to proceed with your state space schema and also your initial state. Okay, for your assignment. Okay, so just now or last week, remember, okay, we actually discussed, for example, assuming that I have customer, I am doing customer. Okay, if you remember last week, we have this customer where, okay, I will have maybe ID, name, age, gender, for example. Okay, so last week we have maybe ID. I'm going to have ID as my basic type. Name, maybe name as my basic type. Age will be N, for example. Okay, age will be N, for example. And then gender will be whether male or female, for example. Yeah. So this is actually what we have actually discussed last week. Okay. So when you do your basic type, when you do your free type, okay. So let's do step by step first. So we have basic type. Okay. So I will have just now basic type will be ID and name, for example. And then I have free type. Okay, for example, free type. I will have just now gender. Okay, male or female, for example. And then age. Okay, so age, I will not do anything yet. Okay, but please keep that we are going to have age in our database. And then maybe I want to have axiomatic definition. Okay, I want to have axiomatic definition, for example, capacity. Let's say I want to use capacity. So I want to do same as the lecture just now without the predicate. So if with the predicate, I will use this, but without predicate, I will use this symbol. Okay, I will use this symbol. So I will have, let's say, capacity of type N, for example. This is what actually we did last week. Okay, we did last week. Then after axiomatic definition, this is where your state space schema. Okay, and then after that will be your initial state schema. Okay, this is the process. This is the step by step. Okay, so in your state space schema, okay, you use this symbol. Okay, insert schema with predicate. So let's say for the assignment, my module, for example, is customer module. So for the assignment, the schema name will be your module name. Okay, the schema name will be your module name. Okay, so after you have done this, okay, remember the above part will be all variable declaration. Okay, so let's say declaration part. Actually, for variable declarations, okay. So this variable, okay, these variable are actually used to communicate with database data. Okay, used to communicate with your database data. Okay, so that is your declaration part. There is also, you can also include Okay, includes also schema schema inclusion. Schema inclusion. Okay, inside your declaration. Okay, so you put variable declaration. For variable declaration, normally you put inside your declaration part, and then whatever variable that you declare here, okay, used to communicate with your database data. Okay, and then variable use here, variables declared here. Okay, so cannot uh cannot use type declaration. Okay, type declaration, your question mark, exclamation mark, and prime symbol. Not use. Because in your state space schema, okay, in your state space schema, okay, your variables used to communicate with your database. So this variable will be updated when you use or when you call in your operation schema, not in the declaration part yet. Okay, and then the predicate part, of course, will be your general constraints or condition. Okay, whatever that you want to put, okay, you declare in your predicate part. Okay, so this is the information that you have to remember when we talk about state space schema. So now, okay, I want to have my data inside my database. It's for data. Okay, so meaning that my database, okay, let's say 4 just now. So let's say I insert table. Okay, I am going to have ID, name, let me make it smaller a little bit so that you can see clearly the table. Okay, so let's say I want to have ID, name, age, and gender. Okay, so meaning that ID may be C111, name, okay, age 26, and then gender female, for example. And then C123, let's say I have something like this, age 50, then male. Okay, then I may have another customer. Then I have okay, this is also female, and then maybe here C whatever. Okay, and then okay, female also, for example. Okay, so let's say female, male, all those things. So the rest are actually the data. Yeah, so this is what I want to show in my database data. So meaning that I have the ID. So normally if you have done the ER diagram, this will be the primary key. The ID normally will be the primary key. Okay, so I want to have this as my database data. So where I have ID, name, age, and gender in my table. So what you learned before this, okay, what you actually previously learned, okay, you are going to declare ID. Let's say I use ID because I'm going to have many IDs. So normally I will do power set ID. Okay, ID, yeah, we have already have the ID here. And then same thing for name. I will have power set name. And then age, because age is integer, then I can simply use n. Okay, and then of course gender. Okay, power set gender. Okay, so normally this is what you actually learned previously. Okay, learned previously. But when you do like this, actually in real Z schema, all these data are not linked together. Okay, are not linked together. So what I mean by not linked together, okay, is actually, let's say I draw a table. Okay. Okay, let's say I draw a few tables here. Okay, so what I mean by not linked together, okay, when I do this is actually in your database uh, for the schema, it will be in different table, not linked together. Okay, so this is for name, and then this is for age, and then this is for gender. They're not linked together actually. Okay, so your data will be, let's say I copy this. Okay, so this is your data, for example, for the ID. This is the data for the name. Okay, and then these are the data for age. Example, and then this is the data for the gender. Yeah. So what actually happened here? Okay, when you do individually like this, it is not linked together. Not linked together. So you will have 4 separate tables. One for ID, one for name, one for age, and one for gender. So meaning that if I ask you, what is the ID of this person? You cannot tell me because it's not linked with the ID here. If I ask you, this person, how old is he? Male, okay. How old is he? You cannot tell me the age of this person. Okay. Also, I can ask you, is this person a female or male? Also, you cannot tell me the answer because it is not linked together. Okay, it is not linked together. So in order for us to solve this kind of problem, okay, this is where, if you remember your tutorial 3, you learn at least about the Cartesian product. Okay, you learn about Cartesian product. So Cartesian product is actually to link the data, okay, together. So for our Z schema, I will actually consider the data as a pair. Okay, because if you go for triple, quadruple, and so on, it will be a little bit difficult for you to maintain later when you want to call or whatever. So that's why later when we proceed with our other chapters and so on, we are going to go as a pair only. Okay, so how to solve this problem? Okay, we are going in this question, we are going to go for Cartesian product. Yeah, we are going to go for Cartesian product. So how to do Cartesian product? Okay, among all these 4 variables, okay, among these 4 variables, you have to find one primary key. Okay, you can have 2 primary key whatever in your system, but at least one primary key to link your data. Okay, you can have 2 primary key or whatever, or foreign key, whatever, no problem. But here you must have one primary key. Okay, just now I said in my table, ID is the primary key. Okay, ID is my primary key. So in this case, I am going to do ID as my primary key. Okay, ID as my primary key here. So how to proceed? Okay, so from this ID, I want to use this ID, okay, to make sure that when I give the ID, I can get the name of the person. When I give the ID, I can get the age of the person. When I give the ID, I can get the gender. I know whether female or male of that person. Okay, so I want to have that kind of information. Okay, so in order for us to do that, we are going to use Cartesian product. So how to do that? So for Cartesian product, okay, the primary key, okay, you put bracket like that, power set outside, put bracket, then you put ID, then you put Cartesian product name. Yeah, so this is actually how you do your Cartesian product. Okay, yeah? Because when it is a primary key, you put in front. Okay, you put in front. Yeah, so you put in front. That is a primary key. Age also, because I am going to link with ID, so same thing. You put in front. But for age just now, no power set. But now because you have ID already, then you need to put power set also. Okay, you need to put power set. Okay, same thing for gender. Okay, so same thing for gender here. You do like this. Okay, you do like this. So what happened is I will have, okay, ID must have one. So I will have ID like this, a table of ID. But when it comes to name, okay, when it comes to name, okay, I will have okay, ID in front. Example now is ID Cartesian with name. Okay, for name, I will have ID and name. So same thing for age. Okay, I will have like this. And I will have something like this in my equation, in my declaration. Same thing for gender. Okay, where I will have ID like this. Okay, so here will be ID Cartesian product of gender. Okay, so what happened is because now I have the primary key of ID here, then I can tell that if I give this primary key, I will know what is the name of the person. By giving this primary key, I will know what is the age of the person. By giving this primary key, I will know what is the gender of the person. So even though this is as a pair of table, a pair of data, but the concept will be similar to this. Where if by using this ID, I will get the name, I will get the age, and also I will get the gender. Okay, so in your assignment, rather than you just leave it like this, okay, so because you have done a little bit of exercise for the Cartesian product. Cartesian product is in chapter 3 next week. So because you have done a little bit of exercise about the Cartesian product, and then you can use that knowledge to do or to implement in your assignment by using something like this. Okay, by using something like this. So now, let's say the predicate part. You have done the declaration, but some of you will feel, what do I need to put in my predicate part? Okay, when you look at this, the variable declaration, when you look at this variable declaration, okay, you see that ID here is the same type as this one, same type as this, and same type of from here. Yeah, same type here. So there is a link because your type are the same here, ID, ID, ID. So same for all here. So you can show the link between all these ID together. Okay, you can show the link. So in your mathematics last time, I think you have learned about domain and range. Okay, domain and range. Okay, so you have done this before. Okay, domain and range, where domain is the first, second coordinate is the range. Okay, domain is the first coordinate, whereas range is the second coordinate. So if you look at this, domain is this one, range is this one. Okay, so I think all of you have learned this in your previous mathematics courses. You have learned about this. So the first coordinate we call as domain, second coordinate we call as range. So how to show this in your Z schema? We are going to use DOM in our Z schema. Range, we are going to use ren. Yeah, the keyword that we are going to use in our Z schema to represent domain will be DOM, to represent range will be ren. So how to show this? Okay, so for name here, okay, in your predicate part, we are going to use all our variable here. We are not going to use type anymore. Okay, basic type, free type, whatever, we are not going to use anymore. We are going to use variable in our predicate part here. Okay, we are going to use variable in our predicate part here. So in this case, I am going to use name. Okay, so the one that are same for all will be ID, 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 ID. So for name here, the ID here is domain. Okay, the ID here is domain for name. So how to write? You write dom name. Okay, dom name. Okay, dom name for age, ID also is the same as domain age. So you put equal, you put dom age. Okay, equal dom gender. And then you have to make sure we have ID here. Then equal. For this ID, no domain or range because only one type. Okay, because only one type. So here you just put ID. Okay, you just put ID. So this is one of the things that you have to add inside your predicate part. Okay, just now, if you refer previously, I have axiomatic definition here. I want to say that total customer in my database cannot exceed the capacity. So if you want to do that, you can also add it in this area, hashtag ID, okay, must be less or equals to capacity, for example. Okay, so you just do like this. You don't need to do for all because ID, all these ID are linked together with this. So you can just do something like this. Okay, so if you have done, so this is actually your state space schema. Okay, one of you will ask me, you want to use your friend ID into your system, for example. Or maybe, for example, I have registration. Let's say, I have registration. Okay, module. Then I have whatever lah, variable, blah, 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 everything. And then I want to make sure that in my registration, I want to get the information of the customer. So maybe I want to have one variable called customer register where I want to link. Okay, so maybe I will have for my registration, I will have, for example, basic type called registration ID, for example. Okay, registration ID I have for my registration. So if I want to link with the customer ID, then I can just use registration ID, okay, Cartesian product with ID. Okay, so you have power set in front And then you just do like this. This ID is in the customer ID, but this registration ID, okay, for the registration ID, for example. So if let's say you want to link your module with your friend module, but make sure that whatever that you create here will be related to your operation. So it means that you have operations that are going to retrieve customer information through your registration, for example, then you do the link. If it is inside the customer, then the customer must do the link. Okay, not you. So you discuss among your team members on how to do that. Okay, on how to do that. So this is the way. So this one can be your primary key. This one may be your foreign key, for example, from your ER diagram. So you can actually do like this in your assignment, in your state space schema. Okay, so now, so that is about the state space. Okay, so how to proceed with your initial state? Okay, I copy, this is my customer. I copy back to the below here. Okay, so I have this. So now I want to do initial state. Okay, so init customer, for example. Okay, so customer is my state space. Okay, follow this. Customer is your state space. So here also must be the same here. Okay, must be the same as customer here. So now how to initial? Normally you have four variables. So I put ID, name, age, and gender. Yeah. So I have ID, name, age, and gender. So equals to empty set. Name also equals to empty set. Okay, because like this, age also empty set because you have ID in front. So here also will be empty set. Gender, because ID in front also will be empty set. Yeah. So this is how you do initial state. Okay, but if you refer to here, actually, you can shorten up your initial state because up from here, your primary key is ID here. Okay, so if the ID or the customer ID does not exist, all this information will not exist also for that person. Okay, for that ID that will not exist also. So when you want to do that, you can also shorten up your initial state by putting only this line only. It's enough actually. Okay, but of course, for your assignment purpose, okay, we are going to go for this one to make sure that you know what you are doing for your assignment. You know what you are doing for your assignment. So we want you to understand this, because if you do like this, some of you might confuse why I have only one, why not two, why not three. So for your assignment, we want you to do like this for the initial state. Okay, for the initial state. Okay, any question until here? Any question until here about how you want to proceed with your assignment? And then if let's say you want to proceed with your assignment, after you have done all the initial state, then it's going to be your operation state already. Okay, operation state. So your operation state, okay, this is where your three chosen operation already. Okay, so this is your chosen operation. So operation state, we are going to start next week. Okay, we are going to start doing operation state next week. So until here, any question from all of you regarding the lecture and also how to proceed with your assignment? Any question? Any question? Maybe I will stop presenting lah. Any question from all of you?